Let's see, give him a couple more minutes. See what we got.
Hey, you've got Ben Samuels here. I am just dialing in on my phone, but I am here for attendance purposes.
Okay, Ben, thank you. Okay, we got Linda. Got James Neely.
Jordan is also on phone as well.
Okay. Six. So I think what, yeah, Patrick is there. We got seven. Okay. I do believe we have a quorum. Okay. Let's call the meeting to order at 4:02. Izzy, would you like to call the roll, please?
Yes. Deborah Carter? Kim Sella?
Here.
James Cotter? Ed James?
Here.
Linda Camp?
Here.
Barsha Rollins? Ben Samuels?
He might be on mute, but he did say he was on the phone.
I'm here. Yep.
Okay.
Jordan Sanders?
Did you say you spoke to her, Izzy?
Yes, I did.
Jane, go ahead. I'm sorry.
James Neely?
Here.
Patrick McKelvey?
Present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. All others in attendance, would you like to introduce yourself, please? Okay.
Brad Kelling, St. Louis County Police Department.
I'll start for Bi-State Development. Chuck Stewart, Chief Operating Officer, Bi-State Development.
Hi,
That's
Tammy
okay.
Paris, Chief Financial Officer. Sorry, Chuck.
Tom Curran, Executive Vice President of Administration.
Ed Zimmerman, Marketing Communications.
Melissa Webb, Security.
And Talby will be a minute.
Okay. Anyone else in attendance?
Ray Golick, St. Louis County Department of Transportation.
Ms. Rollins is on. I'm just making her panelist right now.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else in attendance?
Portia is also on.
Yes, she's okay. Okay. I'd like to approve the minutes for the March 10th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, McKelvey.
Second, Linda Camp.
All those in favor, say aye. Say aye.
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 Motion passed. Reports. Anyone from the Transportation and Public Works? I don't think we have anybody from St. Louis County Council. Transportation Public Works.
Chair James, we have no report this month.
Okay. County Police Department.
Good afternoon. Submitted was our statistics from the last few months for your review. We're seeing no significant incidents to bring to your attention, so I have nothing further to report.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have questions of anyone in transportation and police department? Okay, hearing none. Bi-State Development.
Hello, Chairman. How are you? Thank you very much for your time. If I might mention, Captain Kelling actually gave a really great briefing on April statistics. That is video. I think that was put on LinkedIn. If anybody's curious about how that went, Captain, my compliments on how that video went. I thought it was really nicely done and gave a good synopsis of how the Bureau of Transit Police is going. So I encourage everybody to go to that. But of course, most importantly, what we're talking about today is approval of our budget. And so you will be hearing from our CFO, Tammy Paris, on that. And additionally, you'll get the normal operating briefing from our Chief Operating Officer, Chuck Stewart. And we'll be moving forward on that. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to pass on to my colleagues if that's acceptable, and we will go from there.
Can I make a comment first?
Yes, of course.
Received your survey. I hope that all the other commission members received it. It's quick, to the point, and I think that if you haven't received it, let Izzy know, and we can get a copy of the survey to you. It's very brief, but I think it would give out a lot of information on how Bi-State is doing and what the expectation of Bi-State is. So thanks for that short survey.
Of course, and just so you know, Chairman, what we do is we send that all out to stakeholders. So it's a great opportunity for us to kind of compile that fundamental information, and we put it all together, and it just gives us an idea of how to measure ourselves. So with that, I think the best way is to stay consistent with where we've gone. Is we'll go first to Chuck Stewart with operations, and then I think then if we stay on schedule here, we'll go to security, and I believe Missy Webb is going to give that briefing, and then we will go to Tammy Paris, our Chief Financial Officer. All right, so Chuck, why don't you take it away?
All right, thank you, sir. Well, I'm going to be very brief. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that if I go through it, we can probably spend about 3 hours, but I want to spend 3 minutes because Tammy is the star of our show today in terms of the budget presentation. So Izzy, if you go to the next slide, please, and we're going to move pretty quickly. Our workforce update, we're doing a great job in terms of operators and Colorado operators, still looking for mechanics. We had a hiring event, I think it was March 17th. Attendance is dwindling a little bit for these. We're not having as many people show up, but we were still able, I think we still hired about 30 bus operators and the same amount of Colorado operators. So we're doing very well in that area. Again, mechanics that's the skill that we need, and we're still providing the $5,000 sign-on bonus for mechanics. Next slide, please. I think I reported to you at the last meeting our service change that was taking place on March 17th. We have implemented that change. And I assume that everybody's going to get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, so I won't go into detail on the route changes, which is the next slide, Izzy. So those are the areas where we had route adjustments. Again, we're trying to add a little service in terms of frequencies and reliability, and we continue to do that as we move forward. Our ridership continues to improve. I think that's a result of us providing better service and the strides that we are achieving as it relates to security and all the things that are involved in giving good customer service. Next slide, please. We have another service change. Again, they're quarterly. Another service change planned for June 16th. And again, we're going to impact 16 routes. We're continuously getting feedback from our riders, from our operators, on things that we need to do to tweak our service to make it better. So we will be doing that again on June 16th. And the next slide lists some of the routes that will be impacted with that service adjustment. The next slide, we start getting into Call-A-Ride, and we continue to report that our Call-A-Ride ridership, our service continues to improve. Our ridership continues to increase, and our denials continue to be zero. So I think we have a great track record going with Call-A-Ride. One of the issues I need mechanics about is because I don't have enough vans some days to meet the demand for the ridership. But we are doing all we can to continue to improve that service as well. We've talked about the phone status, the updates. Our queues are getting smaller and smaller as people trust us to call at different times. We continue to provide next day service on a more frequency than we were in the past. Our new tools such as Spare are helping us with this in terms of communicating with our customers and providing them the service that they need on a timely basis, and the information about when their van is going to arrive, and all of the things necessary for them to maintain contact with us and again improve our service performance. So the next slide, number 9, talks about Spare and the benefits of that. I think I went over those at the last meeting that we had. Number 10 talks about again, more about benefits on 10. 11, the Accessibility Committee. We continue to meet with this group. These are people that are intimately engaged with us in helping us to improve the service that we're providing. And so this is a very successful venture on our part in terms of getting the community involved in what we do. And the next slide, which may be the last one. Okay, not the last one. These are events that are coming up. We had the hiring event in March 22nd. We had Appreciation Day on March 18th. We passed out caps and other trinkets to all of our operators. We had a May 17th. The next hiring event will be coming up. Well, we had one. And then Community Connect. Again, this is our quarterly meetings where we go out to various areas in the community and basically talk about our services, talk about our service changes, get feedback from our customers, our constituents about what they would like to see as we move forward in continuing to improve customer service with Metro. So those are upcoming events in May. And district ride along. So we had we met with the council last month. The county council, we offered them opportunities to do ride-alongs with us in their specific districts, so they can see the district. We can look into some issues that they may have in terms of signage or trash cans or whatever the situation is. And that has been, so we made that offer to the county council members, and I am hereby making that same offer to any of you that would like to do a ride-along. Reach out to me. We'll make it happen, and hopefully you'll get some additional firsthand information about how we operate at Metro, whether it be bus or Metrolink, or maybe even Call-A-Ride. So that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Chuck, I hate to put you on the spot. Did any of the county council members take you up on your offer?
Not yet, but they will. You know, we did it with Councilwoman Webb. She did a ride along with us, And I mean, it was really quite interesting. She sent us a list of, you need to change that sign or move that trash can or whatever. And we were able to do all of those things. So it's an open offer, and we'd be glad to do that at any time.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
You know,
thank
just
you.
it's on a related issue, but I did actually meet with the new Councilwoman Gretchen Bangert, and she actually came down to the office. And although Chuck wasn't here, I think Tammy came down and talked to her briefly. She is actually I guess the council now has a finance subcommittee. Then that she is on, that we will, well, assuming we get through this, which I think is where we go next. So we're just kind of wading through how that works. But I've also reached out to the other new council member, and I'll continue to do that. So just so you guys know, I make all those phone calls, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you. Okay. I guess security is up next.
Thank you. Just to piggyback off Mr. Stewart's invitation, don't forget we have a tour that we do within our security component at the Real-Time Camera Center. I'd love to host you all. It's a deep dive into everything that we have that is out there currently to enhance our riders' experience. So if anybody would like to come down there, I would love to host you. With regard to SPP, I'm going to give you a quick update. Our Missouri contractor last week hit all the remaining Missouri platforms for site visits. We are already doing some work, some groundwork on some of our platforms currently in preparation for our secure platform plan enhancements on those platforms. I'd also like to jump in and say thank you, Captain Kelling and his team. It was phenomenal. And yes, I'm gonna jump in there on Mr. Roach's sentiment. The video that he did was phenomenal. I hope you all can take a look. We've placed that on Metro Transit Public Safety's LinkedIn page and also our Facebook page. Other than that, today was an educational video day. We did a lot of taping for our See Something, Say Something campaign, trying to get that out to the public and also our internal teams so that we have more people calling us if they see something so that we can help them then opposed to after the fact. Well, we hope to have that in production here by the end of the month. And that's all I have from security. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I have a comment. Said James. I took the tour of the real-time facility. Fantastic. I think everybody should, if you have a chance, see it. You'd be surprised what you said. I can almost see in my backyard from one of the stops. So it's very educational, and I think it's something that once we see it, we will have a little bit more confidence in public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have a question. I don't know to whom to direct this question, but I noticed that the legislature again is proposing to allow armed passengers on buses and public transportation. So I remember we were discussing this before, and you said there is a conflict with Illinois. But I guess my question is, if in fact that is passed by the legislature, do you have any contingency plans for how to deal with that?
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say maybe we notice this up for next meeting.
No problem. Thanks for that. Thanks for that question, because I saw that same article in the paper. So, Mr. Stewart and Mr. Roach, will you be able to cover that the next meeting?
Yeah, Chairman, I'll be happy to do so.
Thank you very much. Again,
Thank you all.
Thanks for the question, Mr. James. Okay, finance.
Good afternoon. Let me get my PowerPoint up here real quick. All right. So this very first slide, you guys have seen this before. This is Tolby's favorite slide. So we're here to introduce, let me back up for a second. We're here to introduce the FY26 operating and capital budget. And this is Tolby's favorite slide. It's our fiscal responsibility, really talking about who we are as a company, right? We are fiscally responsible. This year, it is a 7-year average growth. When you look at this chart, what you see on the green line is really our budget, what we've been asking for. That blue box right there to the left is when Tolby started. So you can see we've progressed. The blue line is really a 2% growth, and the red line is a 3% growth. So we've managed to stay below the 2%. We have a goal of our average growth or our average cost to be at 1.5%, but we've stayed under 2 the entire 7-year time frame. Generally, when you see increases and we haven't met that 1.5%, it's generally the impacts that we're seeing from negotiating the labor contract. And so that's when we see increases there. This next slide is really the bulk of it. It's really talking about the difference between the 25 and the 26 budget. I'll start out with the revenue. So you can see that first line item is passenger revenue. And as you can see in 2026, we have decreased the amount that we expect to get in by about 2.3 million. We're just trying to be realistic with what we come in on actual and keeping it in line there. So that's why we've projected the 19.5 million. The next line item is the bulk of it, the grant, sales tax and contractual revenue. So that we get a little bit of, when I say a little bit, it's quite a bit of money from the federal, from the FTA in that line item, about 16 million. This line item also contains all the sales tax that we get from the city and the county, our contract with St. Clair County, and that's really what that grant part stands for, is that 16 million I was just discussing. So you can see that we're going up 8 million. So that's our ask of about 4 million in sales tax. And then we also have an increase that we're looking at our state, our Missouri state tax. We're using that within our operating budget. And so that's what that $8 million represents, an increase. The next line item, interest income, you can see that we have a pretty big difference there, down about 10.2 million. Some of that's related to the Fed, just decreasing rates, but it's also mainly related to us moving our capital projects. So as we move capital projects, we have less money to earn interest on, and so that's the impact that you're seeing on that line item. The next line item, other. So this line item, you can see that that's a decrease of about 8.5 million too. And I'll talk about this a little bit more when we get down into the expenses. But one of the big items that's within that line item is a lease that we have on our LRVs, and it's ending in 2025. So that's why you're seeing that decrease on that line item of about 8.5 million. This line item contains revenue that we get from advertising, rentals, paratransit. That's really focused on that line item. So in total, you can see we are budgeting for about $344 million. Moving on into expenses, you can see wages and benefits. We have an increase of about 6.1 million, and that's primarily due to those labor contracts that I was talking about. So you see that increase, and then also there's some increases there for workers' comp and medical that comes within that line item. So an increase of about 6 million. The next line item is another big line item for services. You can see that our budget increased by by 3 million to 61.2 million. This line item contains our police contracts, security contracts, and so we're seeing some increases there. We also are seeing increases in other types of contracts that we have that fall in this line item, such as cleaning and things like that. Everybody's experiencing higher labor costs, so we're seeing that coming through in some of our contracts that we have too. The next line item for fuel and lubrication, you can see that we're down about 329,000. We manage our fuel primarily by a fuel hedge, and so that's why we don't see great spikes or increases in cost or declines. It's really meant to help us manage our budget. And so it is working, and that's what you're seeing here. The next line item, parts and supplies, you can see we're down 1.5 million. So what we were doing is really trying to control cost on parts as we see some increases in some other line items. For casualty insurance, you can see that we don't really have much of a change there. Just a little bit of a decrease. It's mainly been pretty steady. We are self-insured, and so we've been managing our costs related to that. We do see some spikes at times, but we've been managing that. The market there is a little bit hard. As you know, all insurance market pretty much is difficult right now. So over the last couple of years, we have seen increases in our excess liability premiums. For utilities, you can see that's pretty steady with just a slight increase of 231,000. And then other expenses, you can see a decrease of about 2.2 there. That's primarily, some of that is due to some pass-through grants that we have and other items that fall into that line item. So in total, we have almost 334 million in operating expense. You can see that next line item is our interest expense, on our debt. And that is decreasing. That 7.4 that you're seeing there, again, is related to those leases for the LRVs that we have. And then going down to the next item on other non-operating expenses, you can see that we're down slightly by 3.1 there. I'm sorry, that's where you see the pass-through grants coming through on that line item. So in total, we're down about 4.8 million. We intend to look at some of the interest income that we have to help support some of that shortfall. And in total, after depreciation, we have a deficit of 67 million. That deficit for depreciation is primarily funded by the FTA and some local match that we get from our funding partners. This next slide, I'm sorry.
Tammy, are any of these numbers affected by the president's cuts in some programs?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So this next, yes.
Tammy, with regards to passenger revenue, you're budgeting 10% less than prior year, but we're predicting ridership to continue to grow. So what is the explanation between budgeting for less revenues, but projecting ridership to continue to go up?
So the difficulties we have is that we really get one ask of our funding partners to ask for the funds that we need. And as you can see in 24, we were at about 19.4 million for actual. And that's really where we think we're going to come in. I mean, we can project higher ridership, but we really think that we'll see that increase in ridership with the completion of SPP. We feel like we'll have riders come back to the system. I think we'll just see a better outcome. And as we start seeing some of that change, we will start budgeting for it. But if I budget too much now, then what happens is that I'm short those dollars and I have a hard time finding them to fund the budget that I need. And so I've found that in my time, it's just easier to budget what I really think we're actually going to get in and be optimistic about where ridership's going, but be realistic on the cash side because I've got to figure out a way to fund it if it doesn't show up.
Okay, so I understand why you did it. Just as I would assume as funders look at this, it would be alarming that they see a 10% reduction in passenger fare revenues as the price of transit operating expenses are going. Do you see what I'm saying? I understand why you're doing this, but I think it would be really good if there were an explanation beyond that, why if ridership is growing, we're not capturing more fare revenue or we're not budgeting for more fare revenue.
Right. And I have experimented both ways. Usually what the difference is about 2 million. And I do hear you. I think I just need a little bit more time. I think SPP is done January of 2026. So we'll be able to see some movement, hopefully in those 6 months, and that will help me with the 2027 budget.
Okay, so you're actually looking into why fare revenue is potentially decreasing even though ridership is going up. Like, are people not paying their fare, or is it because they're riding on reduced fare? Or I think that type of
Yes.
information might be helpful.
So I do believe it's both things. I mean, I do believe there's some of both. We know we have a lot of discounted fares, so we know that makes up a big part of it. So we may not see as big of an increase as we'd like to see in that sense, but we do know that as we move forward too, and we get SPP underway, we will be able to look at our fares too. So we're kind of, I feel like we're kind of in the in-between time, and we've been, I do hear what you're saying. I just don't know that there's something that I can do right now. But I do hope that we see higher fares. But I mean, I hope that the ridership is increasing, right? And we have seen some improvement in ridership. But, just as, I don't know, I think that's just where we are right now. I'll feel more comfortable about being more optimistic on the ridership side in the 27 budget.
Any other questions for Tammy? Thank you, Kim.
So this next slide, I'm sorry, is there any other questions? I'm happy to answer them now, or I'm happy to answer at the end too. Okay.
I think that might be it on this one, Tammy.
Okay, so this next slide is really just kind of a nice breakout of the different sources of funds that we get. Obviously St. Louis County is at 181.6 million, or 52.8%. St. Louis City is at 42 million at 12%, and then St. Clair County is at 64.2 million at 18.7%. So our primary, big three funding partners. When we look at our other revenue sources, obviously there's the passenger revenue we were talking about at 19.5 million, or 5.7%. We have some interest income in there at 5.3 or 1.5%. That federal, that 19.4 million, makes up that 16 million in federal vehicle maintenance, and then some other pass-through grant money that we get there. And then finally, other miscellaneous income of the 12.2 million, which is primarily things such as, funding from Medicaid or paratransit, different funds that we have from that source. And then finally, our appropriation request from 25 to 26 is up 1.5%, or 3 million. So from the 197.1 to 200.1 million. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Hearing none. Tammy, I'm sorry. Still in your ballpark, babe. No other questions on that?
Okay. All right. So then we'll move on to the financial statements. So the financial statements that, I'm sorry, I think I'm still sharing, so I'll get off that, are actually through February of 2025. And so what you'll see there, and my glasses back on, so our budget is 236 million in revenue. We had actual of 227.6. Some of the difference there is timing in our sales tax collection. We do know we are having some impact from passenger revenue and also from our interest income. And so that comes to a total variance of about 8.8 million. When you look at expenses, you can see in total we had expenses of 223 million. So those are down by about 7.5 million. From budget, and we do believe some of that is timing. So overall, you're seeing that we have income of about 4.2 million. But as I said, I think a lot of that is timing related to expense, and we may even have some shortfall on the revenue side too. And I'm happy to answer any questions on that also.
Okay, hearing none. Continue.
Thank you.
Tammy, you still, no other questions on that?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, we're all, so Chairman, we're all done with finance then with that, unless they're correct. Am I missing this? Nope.
Nope.
Okay, so then from there, we would go to our marketing update. And I believe we have Ted Zimmerman on for that. Ted, could you take it away?
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm going to cover a few quick items for the marketing communications portion. If you turn to the last tab of the Marcom, you'll see the Marcom tab there for the monthly February report. There were 320 mentions, positive and neutral, with just over 11 million impressions. And that translates into approximately $243,000 in publicity value. Approximately 2/3 of the sentiment are positive and neutral. If you have a chance to scan the notable headlines, you can see how much of the sentiment is actually developed. On the next page, you'll see the types of media that make up our monthly sentiment. TV, print, radio, online, all the different areas as far as social as well. The chart below that on the page lists the types of the media on a 12-month rolling sentiment, which is really reflective of more of a very fluid media cycle that Metro Transit is a part of. The following pages, we continue our performance across all of the LinkedIn, the radio, the out of home, the billboards, as well as community engagement pieces, Valentine's Day. We've done some UPass events in February, as well as helped with the opening of some of the additional secure platform locations. We've also included the upcoming calendar of engagement events for April and May. And also in there are our February news releases. Our communications team has been working to promote the Adopt a Stop program. To date in St. Louis County, there are 201 stops that are adopted. It's about 10% of the total county stops. They include community partners such as the Shriners, the Masons, the City of Pine Lawn, and even a local bank is sponsoring 17 locations. These are the larger ones. And just as a part of that when we look at the Adopt a Stops, it doesn't cost anybody to participate, just time as far as volunteering. Metro Transit provides the bags. And the great part is you get your name up on a sign next to the display of what you've adopted. You can use it in memory of someone as well, or as a business. And we just want everybody to remember that the bus stops are really our front door to the communities that we serve. Anything that we can do to make them more beautiful and keeping them clean is really helpful. But if you're interested in adopting a stop, you can call us at 314-982-1466, or you can visit us online at metrostlewis.org/adopt-a-stop. Anyway, that completes my report. Do you have any questions?
And on the Adopt a Stop, who is responsible for cleanup?
So actually our team, we've worked it in different ways. Part of it is our team is actually picking up some of that trash, and sometimes we work with municipalities that when they're adopting the stops, they want to pick up the trash. So it kind of works. It's a blend of two different ways.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none. That does it. Mr. Roach, you want to go over the budget information?
Yeah, so that's what Ms. Paris did. And so we went through that fundamental piece. We do have the only issue is that, of course, we usually leave it to the county to prepare the resolutions, which comes typically from the county executive or the budget director's office. And so that's where that is. So we respectfully ask the council to pass those provisions. I do believe we have drafted those before. But we try to do that in conjunction with the budget director's office. So, isn't that right, Tammy?
Yeah, so I prepared just kind of a draft based on last year's percentages for the motion and resolution. I can forward that if that's needed to you.
We would need to see that, and I think some of the members might want to take a closer look at some of these issues. So with that being said, since you have a draft and we can go ahead and look at these budget information, if we have any questions, we can get back to you. But
Okay.
let's be prepared maybe to approve this at our May meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Is that satisfactory to the rest of the commission? Guess it is.
Okay.
So at this time, let's prepare that. We, as a commission, would take a closer look at it. If we have any questions or concerns, we will pass them on to you or Mr. Stewart. And if not, we will be prepared to pass the proposal in the May meeting. Satisfactory?
That's fine, Chairman. So I'll take that direction. We will consult with the county budget director about those issues and we'll move forward on that basis.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns on the budget from the commissions?
So
Okay.
we'll receive the resolution prior to the next commission meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Should I just go ahead and send it to everybody on the? on the call?
If
Is that okay?
you can send a proposal, but make sure you put draft on it a couple
Okay,
of times.
will do.
Just in
Right.
case
And
there are
just to
some.
clarify, commissioners, you don't have to approve the language of the resolution and the ordinance. You're just approving the budget.
Right, but the proposal that they sent will include all of that, correct? We
So-
approve the resolution that goes to the council.
So Ms. Britt, Adam, that has not traditionally been what's happened. Normally, according to we do have a fairly detailed piece. That's what's been done in the past. But we can go ahead and we just don't like to take the county's fiat or legal obligate, that's not obviously our business. So we can advise, we can go from there, but the distinction is the county's itself. And I think that in order to go to the county council, it has to be passed by this board according to the creation of this board. And normally that is specific
Perhaps I'm
about.
just misunderstanding. I'm not saying that the commissioners cannot see the language. But I'm just clarifying that the resolution itself is something that the council would approve.
But wouldn't we
Historically-
approve the resolution going to the council? Am I correct in
I'm
saying
sorry,
that?
I didn't catch that.
we-
Are you
are
asking
we
if you all
responsible for-
would make changes to the language of the resolution?
We wouldn't make changes to it unless we see something we figure that should be changed, but my short time on, what we did was we look at the resolution and we approved the resolution that was going to the county council.
Okay, yeah, I might just be misunderstanding, or we might just be saying the same thing differently. So I will get clarification and I'll follow up with you about it, Chair James.
Yeah, I think we are saying the same thing. We look at it, we approve the resolution to go to the county council. And that's
It's
it.
so historically, it's a county commission. It's our commission's recommendation resolution to the county council. It's a completely separate resolution than what the county council passes. It's specific to the commission.
Commission, right, correct.
Yeah, that was the misunderstanding. I thought you were talking about both, but yes, I was with you all last year when we did this process. So I'm not saying that anything has changed. I just misunderstood what was initially being said.
No. Thank you. Thanks, Kim. Okay. Any further business before next meeting? We're gonna have an update on I put it down as new business, I would assume, to an update on the state's position on concealed carry. And I'm not sure when your survey will be complete, but if we can have somewhat of a short update on what your survey, the outcome of the survey that you submitted, Mr. Roach. And at this time, I think that might be it. Any other questions, additions for the request for the next meeting?
No.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Move properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.